Hello, Priscilla. Thank you for joining us.
Agreed.
Sorry, it's looking like it's not letting me unmute myself,
You
but
are unmuted
You
now.
are unmuted.
oh, great, great. It's good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Our pleasure. Glad to have you.
And we have someone from Regina Mahoney's office. Hello, Bryce.
Hi, Bryce.
Hi, hello everyone. Actually, my name is Brice Pear.
Oh, I'm so
And
sorry.
no, it's okay. It is a French. Actually, it was my grandfather's name.
Oh,
Saint Brice was a Frenchman, so
ah.
it's been swiped. Um, I am here on behalf of Councilmember Virginia Maloney. It's great to see you all. I am happy to start off by hearing from the co-chairs and the members of the committee, or I can give a little presentation. I'll be reading off an iPad. Um, so I'm anyway honored to represent the council member here tonight.
Well, we're very glad that you're here. We know that her position as chair of the city equivalent of the EDC is so important, and she's been focused on the World Cup and its benefits in many ways, tangible and intangible, for the city. So we're really glad to have you, as well as all of the other speakers.
Thank you.
And since the council member is in this district and has that position, it's a double benefit.
And of course, she has an extensive background in the business world herself, and I think she's maybe one of two council members with an MBA.
Ah,
For example. So she did work at the Economic Development Corporation earlier in her career, and of course that committee has oversight of that entity.
that's good.
Okay, let's wait one more minute, then we'll start. Okay, let's get started.
Okay. Um, all right. I'm Alita Camp. I'm one of the co-chairs. Bill Angelos is the other co-chair, and Bill gets all the credit just about for organizing this really important meeting on how small businesses could benefit from the World Cup. I think the numbers last I heard were that it's expected to bring $6 billion into the city, and there were also intangible benefits from hosting something so significant worldwide as the World Cup. So we're very happy to have everybody here. Bill, do you want to introduce everyone, and then we'll give Reese a chance to speak as a representative of Council Member Maloney. And normally at committee meetings, the representatives of the council members are not as present as Brees is in this instance, but we wanted him here because the council member is the chair of the council equivalent of the EDC, oversees them, and has held, I think, a hearing on how the city itself could maximize visitorship and benefits from the World Cup. And Brees, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're really glad to have you and just give an overview of anything that was discussed, and then we'll turn it over to our scheduled speakers.
John, can you,
Brees. Could
John,
you
can you unmute?
John?
That was on
You
me.
could unmute all of the speakers, I think. Is that good, Bill?
That's fine.
So good evening. Thank you so much to all members and people zooming in tonight to the Small Business Committee. I am here on behalf of Councilmember Virginia Maloney, who represents District 4, which includes much of the east side of Manhattan, below 93rd Street down to 14th Street, and a big swath of Midtown as well. Virginia Maloney chairs the Council's Committee on Economic Development. And of course, you know, the subject of tonight's meeting, FIFA, the International World Football Tournament, is going to be taking place with the culminating in our region. Final will be 8 games, and the final on July 19th will be here in the New York City metropolitan area. The final will be, of course, at MetLife Stadium across the river. For 6 weeks, the eyes of the world will be on New York City. More than usual. And last Friday, Virginia chaired the Economic Development Committee hearing looking at the economic impact of the Cup on the city and the city's preparations. While the matches themselves are all taking place across the river, New York City will be where many people are staying, dining, shopping, and experiencing the tournament. That creates a real economic opportunity for small businesses throughout Manhattan, including right here on the east side. Events of this scale can drive significant economic activity. International visitors tend to spend heavily at restaurants, retail stores, entertainment venues. Hotels across the city are already seeing elevated demand, and the expectation is that many fans traveling for matches will spend time in the city before and after games. If we prepare well, the World Cup has the potential to bring new customers to local commercial corridors and showcase our neighborhoods to a global audience. But realizing those benefits is not automatic, and it requires engagement with local business communities. One of the challenges we are already seeing is that ticket prices for many matches are extremely high, often well over $1,000. That means many New Yorkers, including many of the people who live and work in this district, may not be able to attend matches in person. That makes it even more important that the World Cup experience extends beyond the stadium and beyond a small number of centralized fan events. This is where organizations like Business Improvement District, local chambers of commerce, community boards, small businesses can play a crucial role. Neighborhood watch parties, outdoor screenings, cultural programming, small business promotions can help bring the excitement of the tournament to local streets while also driving foot traffic to nearby restaurants and shops. For neighborhoods like the Upper East Side, Midtown East, and Kips Bay, where we have dense clusters of restaurants, bars, and retail businesses, there's a real potential to create a vibrant viewing environment or environments that benefit local merchants. But that requires early coordination, sharing information with businesses about match schedules, visitor expectations, and opportunities to participate in World Cup related programming. Councilmember Maloney believes strongly that if New York City is investing public resources in promoting the World Cup, the economic benefits should be felt not just in a few tourist-heavy areas, but in neighborhoods across the city, particularly across Manhattan. That includes making sure that small businesses and community organizations are a vital part of the conversation as plans develop. We're looking forward in Councilmember Maloney's office to continuing to work with Community Board 8, local BIDs, and small business groups to make sure the East Side is ready to take advantage of the opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brees. We're really glad Councilmember Maloney is in this district and has such a positive attitude about ways that we could benefit and thrive from the World Cup. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we introduce the speakers, I'd like to hand it over to John to give out the house rules. John?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. If this is your first time joining us, you'll notice that you're all muted, and it may mean fit the agenda, except for the co-chairs and the presenters as we move through the agenda. Following the presentations, as we move through the agenda, the co-chairs will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can speak by pressing the raise hand feature below, not the wave or thumbs up button, those will appear. And do not press the raise hand feature a second time, or your hand will go back down. If you are calling on your phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm muting once the co-chairs call on you. Chat is available for tech support only, of course, and not to ask questions of co-chairs as they will not see the chat. If you're using the older version of Zoom, please go to the React menu, Person menu, or the More menu, where you will find the raise hand feature there. If you're planning to speak during this meeting, please make sure to remain yourself from your first and last name so we may know who is speaking during the meeting. Please do not wave your actual hand or wave at the screen, as we have to see you chatting to the support, of course.
No, thank you, John. So I'd like to introduce our speakers. First, we have a representative from FIFA, Bruce Redman. He's a co-host city manager for FIFA World Cup 2026 New York, New Jersey host committee, spearheading the strategy, of course, for fan engagement, commercial partnership, public and private coordination, a large-scale event operation for 8 matches at MetLife Stadium, including the final. He came from New York City Tourism, where he was the manager director for sports and partnership, and where he oversaw and represented N1 New York City in host city bid along with the state of New Jersey. So, Bruce, I'd like to start off with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And hopefully everybody can hear me okay. By the way, John, thank you for the rules. I love that. Wish more people would kick off meetings with the rules of engagement. I'm going to let John pop up the presentation. The one thing I really want to make sure everybody understands, because for clarity, I think it's very, very important. The host committee is not a host committee or a subsidiary under FIFA. The host committee is a separate private entity, nonprofit private entity, a 501c6, that was formed as a result of winning the bid. Part of the requirements when you win a bid, if a host city does not have a vehicle to manage it, some cities have sports commissions, as you may be aware. The city of New York, the state of New Jersey did not. So we formed the host committee 4 years ago to service the bid and the host city requirements. The agreement between FIFA and New York and New Jersey is between FIFA and City Hall and between FIFA and the state of New Jersey, specifically the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority. However, we are not employees of FIFA. We act on the best interests of New York and New Jersey, oftentimes much to the chagrin of FIFA, as all the host cities do. They act on behalf of their individual and particular cities. So with that, let's kick it off. Let's go to the next slide, John. We have, there you go, there you go. I will tell you the reason why New York, New Jersey won the finals, not just the matches before the finals, is we really lean into everything that makes our region great. The diversity, the business capital of the world, the cultural capital of the world, the media capital of the world. We do know how to put on large scale events. It's in our DNA. It's not always easy. In fact, it rarely is easy. But everything that makes our region great was highlighted in our presentation to FIFA. Let me be clear. We always expected we would get and host matches. You don't do a major sporting event in New York City that's going to encompass, or in the United States, that's going to encompass lots of cities and not look at New York to participate in some capacity. However, the finals was never a guarantee. And I think it was one of our shining moments as we showcase what the region was all about. I love this picture, not just because as a New Yorker you get to see everything from down south, as we call it, to across the river, but really leaning into everything from the skyline, or as we say here, the shoreline to the skyline, was highlighting everything that we did. John, next slide, please. One of the things that really makes what we're doing around the World Cup so fascinating, and we say this all the time, regardless of the nations that ultimately play at MetLife Stadium, they're already heavily represented in our region. While we want to make sure people from all over the world come to New York City and New Jersey, um, if not one person came in from any of the participating nations, MetLife Stadium would still fill up with 75,000 people. Can't say that in Kansas City. You can't say that in Denver. I mean, Dallas. You can't say that in Houston. Um, Probably New York City is the only one without any uncertainty that you could say would be able to fill up that stadium as if it was a home game for one of the nations. And I think that's clearly representative in not only in this picture, but a walk of in way of life here in New York City and New Jersey. Next slide, John. But what makes us so unique to the proposition of being a host city is we have so many great stories to tell from this region. And if you allow me sometimes to indulge when I say the region, I always do include our partners in New Jersey because they are our partners. We don't have the matches without New Jersey because of the stadium that they built and the fact that they have hosted the Super Bowl there. Uh, they host more large concerts. They host two professional football teams, American football. Um, but we really have an incredible story to tell on both sides of the river about our culture, about the neighborhoods, and the fact that the game of soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, has so much history in our region on both sides of the river. The irony is, while most host cities, when they were doing their campaigns during their bids, they hired actors and they hired models and brought in stand-ins for imagery. All we had to do was bring cameras out to certain neighborhoods across both sides of the river, and we had people showing up that reflected exactly the kind of imagery that we wanted and almost all the collateral media that we did. So nothing here is staged. These are all organic from events that we either conducted or showed up either at Stone Pony in Asbury Park, across the river in Brooklyn, or at MetLife Stadium. None of these people, children, were staged. Things were happening, and look at the diversity in these images. It's just absolutely incredible. John, next slide, please. So, very interesting. The size of the television audience from the most recent Super Bowl was about 145 million people around the world. We expect over 2.5 billion people to watch the finals on July 19th. So we have 8 matches, 5 group stage, 2 knockout, 1 final. The final is going to be a spectacle here, certainly in New York City. We're spending a lot of time talking about how the world will be here that week. All these soccer federations, the teams, the federation like USA Soccer is the U.S. Soccer Federation. They're all going to be here, whether they are represented at Life for the finals or not. So the soccer world will be here. You can imagine the world of business, the world of celebrity will all be here the final week. We have events leading into that Sunday that we will be sharing with you all with FIFA as well, working in partnership with them. Some huge events that we'll be very excited to share very soon, in addition to some of the things that I can share momentarily. But the world will be watching this, as I think somebody said, certainly during those 7 matches. But I assure you, not only will the world be watching it on TVs around the world, but the world will be here and they're going to be watching us and what we do and how we treat them and how they can get around and how secure they feel and experience our culture and everything else we have to offer in the region. John, next slide. There we go. Comments that have been made over the last couple of years. And as you all know, we have a very, very engaged new mayor. He is a pure soccer fan. I will tell you, he is the real deal. He knows an awful lot about the game. He knows a lot about the history of the World Cup. And candidly, he's been an incredible breath of fresh air. And we've been working very closely with their new World Cup staff. Maya Handa is the World Cup czar. That's her title. She has a lot of really good people underneath her. And we've been working very closely with City Hall on keeping them up to date on what we're doing and also listening to what they want to do around engagement in the 5 boroughs. John, next slide, please. Some of the economic impact. As I mentioned, the size of the audience watching the finals is really going to be quite epic. It's actually a lot bigger, as I mentioned, than 1.5 billion. But the economic impact, and this was done by Oxford Economics, same company that NYC Tourism uses for their economic impact studies, 3.3 billion in economic impact to the area, 26,000 jobs directly related to the World Cup, and about 1.2 million visitors. What's interesting, about 40% of those visitors, only about 40% will have tickets to the matches. And most people will not be able to get into MetLife, even if they could pay. It's just supply and demand. And this is 39 days. This is not a weekend. This is not a concert. This is not even the Super Bowl. I think it's been described as 8 Super Bowls packed over 39 days from June 11th through July 19th. So we have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of good over those 39 days and create an environment where people want to come back to New York City. Next slide, please. So let's talk about fan engagement. John, you can go to the next slide. Our 2 official fan engagement zones as of now, as of March 5th, is at the U.S. Tennis Center for the entire month of June, from June 11th when the group stages start through June 28th. And then we will switch to Rockefeller Center. Actually, it'll be July 1st through July 19th. However, we're not ready to announce because we're in contract with all the other boroughs, 3 other boroughs, Staten Island, the Bronx, and where I'm missing, Brooklyn. And we will have official fan engagements in all 5 boroughs. Additionally, the host committee is working with many private entities on their public viewing licenses to allow them to be able to air the matches and create events on their own. So one of the things we are doing, and one of the things we are really encouraging, working with the city and working with private entities to establish fan zones by applying for a public viewing license, which comes through FIFA, although we are supporting a lot of private entities and providing letters of support, which are combined with the application to show that the host committee wants to make sure that that entity does get the public viewing license. So then that entity can then seek out a permit if they need to, if they're using any public property or they need street closures, you need to go through City Hall. So we've been working very closely with City Hall on that long before the Mamdani administration, and working with FIFA on working with them and FIFA on helping to secure public viewing license. So while these are the 2 official World Cup host committee fan zones that we've announced a while ago, rest assured, there are 3 more coming, and then a plethora of other fan engagement scenarios that we don't control, but we support and are helping with their securing of the public viewing license. So when we talk about a 5 borough investment, we're putting our resources to make sure that that in fact happens, so that we're not just in Midtown Manhattan. We are in Corona Park in Queens. We are in Brooklyn. We are in Staten Island. We are in the Bronx, and that will happen as well. John, next slide, please. We are also committed to building legacy. I spent a lot of time traveling throughout the city, looking at locations to build mini pitches. We've made a commitment to build 26 mini pitches, 13 in New York, 13 in New Jersey, in New York City, largely going to the outer boroughs, and working with Department of Education. We actually had another call this morning. We've identified 17 locations, and largely in the 4 outer boroughs that are suitable for mini pitches. Right now, we have funding for up to 6. We hope to have 8 by the end of March, and then we'll have funding, we think, for the other 5 by early May, so that we can build these. They will not all be built by the World Cup, but they will be built by October. And something that also this new City Hall is keenly supportive of as we move beyond World Cup. What is our physical legacy? And we work with the U.S. Soccer Foundation, a foundation that has actually worked with City Hall for many years on their 50 pitches in 5-year program. It worked closely with the NYCFC Football Club. So we are taking that commitment that they've made over those 5 years and upping it to another 13 mini pitches in New York City. We also have, if you were at a lot of different events this last summer, we have 2 buses. One's a van, one is an actual double-decker bus that we brought over here from the UK, making stops around the city and in New Jersey at different events, youth events, baseball games, park events, where we take the World Cup, we bring the World Cup to the people. Highly successful. You'll see that again. We actually will be starting in April. I think after the baseball season starts, we're going to be at Citi Field. I think we're also going to be at Yankee Stadium. And it's been an amazing success, as you can imagine, when you see one of these vehicles, one of these buses pull up, and then we create a whole environment of different soccer games. And we've brought some players out in certain instances where we can. In New Jersey, we've done it at the Sports Illustrated Stadium where the Red Bulls play. We let businesses know when these are going to happen so that they can also prepare. We don't just show up and announce. You can't do that anyway. But we really try to make sure that we are we're amplifying what we do in a way that anybody who's around there can take advantage, either preparing with more food, more drink, perhaps cater the event. It's been quite successful. And 2 more slides to go. John, next slide, please. So there's a lot of different ways that businesses can raise their hand and say, we want to provide a service or we have an event that we want to make sure people are aware of. And the easiest way first is to go to our website. It's NYNJFWC FIFA World Cup 26.com. And we have 2 tabs we have a lot of tabs, but 2 tabs at the top that you want to pay attention to. One is the About tab. And if you tab down, there'll be a sub-tab that says Vendor Interest Form. And any vendor, any supplier, any company that has a service or a resource that they want the host committee to be aware of, they can, and we also share this with FIFA and others. If they have a resource or a service they want to make sure that that they're on the radar, to fill that form out. So that is for a service. If you then tab over to the Destination NYNJ tab and scroll down, you'll see a tab that says Community, a sub-tab that says Community Events Toolkit. This is services two different functions, as you see here. One, you can learn how to apply for a public viewing license, and you also can submit any kind of special activity that you may be doing, because the host committee is aggregating all those to be able to promote as such. We are also going to be announcing an alliance with Google and their Gemini product to create what is called a visitor concierge. That is something we're very excited about. That will be bringing in all this information, working very closely with NYC Tourism as an official trusted source of what's happening in New York City. Also using it for security measures and mobility measures as well. But we need to know that if you're a small business, you need to let us know that you have something unique going on, if you want us to know. We also are encouraging everybody to update their Google profile and making sure that if they are going to be doing anything around World Cup, it could be a restaurant that offers a unique drink to celebrate some match. It could be a free dessert. It could be something as benign as we're going to stay open later to keep the matches on in our restaurant or bar. It's not up to us to decide what that special component is, but if you are doing something, don't keep it to yourself. We try to tell small businesses, don't keep it to yourself. Put that information in this portal, update your Google profile, and you have a better shot of at least getting acknowledged and recognized when somebody's seeking something that may be in that neighborhood. So very important. Thank you for putting that link in there, John. That is it. Lots going on. I just want to close and say that our approach is a bottom-up approach. The host committee has 25 employees. We're focused on a lot of things around the region. We don't know the small businesses as well as the small business. So whenever I talk to a small business owner, I really want to make sure that they understand that the opportunity, we will guarantee you the people will be here. We will tell you the visitors are going to show up. But how to run your business, the promotions you should have to come from that small business owner. But make sure the small business owner populates wherever possible, whether it be with us, whether it be with NYC Tourism, whether it be with Google events, on the Google profile, that event, make sure they take the responsibility to update that information. Otherwise, nobody's going to know that something unique is going on there. Bill,
Yes.
that is it for me. I hope that was good enough and provided some context as to the role that we're playing and the opportunity that exists in New York City.
I have a couple of questions before we get to the Chamber of Commerce, if I may. Is there a deadline to submit this information through? No deadline. Okay,
No
good.
deadline. No deadline.
I know Bill and I would like to get this out to the small businesses, so that's good to know. The other question I have is a broader question. I'm not sure if you're the right person, but I'll ask it now anyway. July 4th this year is a huge deal, 250 years.
Yep.
How is that? And it's right in the middle of the FIFA World Cup events. What is the intersection like? Because I imagine there's going to be a lot of events for July 4th and a lot of events around the World Cup, and a lot of crowds for each. Is there planning about that? Are there any foreseen problems, no problems, joint events, anything like that that we should know about that any businesses could capitalize on or be concerned about?
Well, we've been working with Sailport 250 for 5 years. And I know the gentleman, Chris, and I are, I don't say joined at the hip as it relates to security. We've been working with City Hall on this. Yes, we are in essence turning over the city. We don't have any big events other than Rock Center. There's no matches. We have a match on the 5th, but we have no matches on 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Philadelphia does. We don't. We're working very closely. We have a joint task force with both sides of the river on security and mobility. So it is hugely on our radar, as well as this Fleet Week, as you know, that's going to be here. So all of these are put in the blender, and they we're all very cognizant of the other and making sure we can all coexist. And especially on the west side, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. It's kind of why we're also not putting a lot of infrastructure around watch parties on the west side. At least not the host committee. I can't speak for every other business on the west side. But to answer your question, should you be concerned? Well, it's going to be busy. Are we doing this in silos? No. We've been working very closely with City Hall on Sale Forth 250 really for 5 years. So we are both fully aware. We're supporting each other in ways that we can. Their team is on all of our calls, whether around city planning as well as largely security and mobility matters.
It feels like this is more than I think New York City's ever had because the World Cup is so huge and July 4th and the anniversary of independence is so huge. And it sounds like you have it really under control and thoughtful. So that's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, just glue them like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. So I'll introduce you to the next speaker. We have two representatives from the Manhattan Chambers of Commerce. First, we have Maggie Paruta, who is an economic development specialist, who's a voice and advocate for over 125,000 businesses across the borough of Manhattan. The chambers provide resources, education, technical assistance, and other programming to help small businesses to make it in Manhattan. And we have Nicole Franco, who is a business support specialist. She served as the liaison to businesses and utilized a comprehensive scope of resources to aid the growth of their respective zones in Manhattan. Nicole served the Upper East Side, the Upper West Side, and Manhattan area. Excuse me, Midtown areas. So Maggie, I'll pass it on to you.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate the introduction. It's fairly comprehensive, but again, happy to be here. My name is Maggie. I'm an economic development specialist, joined by my colleague here, Nicole. And we are coming from the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. So our goal is to support businesses of all sizes, particularly in Manhattan. But as on theme for our discussion today is summer 2026 and the things and resources we've put together to support specifically small retail storefronts for this summer. So since the fall, we have been working together with several different organizations, bids, nonprofits as part of our Summer of Opportunity Coalition is what we're calling it. I think Bruce spelled out the opportunity very well in his slides. And so our goal really is how do we drive tourist foot traffic to small businesses this summer. We do have some slides. John, I don't know, are you going to share your screen or should I?
It's
Well,
up to your preference. I could pull it up right now.
no, I can pull it up. I didn't know if I like have the ability.
You have the ability to share your screen.
Okay, perfect. Let me see if it works. Might take a second.
There we go.
It's been giving me some issues lately, so. But yeah, so we've been working together to figure out and brainstorm how to really support small retail storefronts. And so we've put together a couple different resources, which I'm going to walk you through once my screen decides it wants to behave. I think it's still loading. Okay, let's try this one more time. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. So the first resource that we put together is what we're calling the Summer of Opportunity Guide. So it includes relevant information for both the World Cup, but also the Sale Forth 250 activities. It's supposed to be kind of a comprehensive guide on both events and this summer, the opportunity, but also really focusing on giving retail storefronts some operational strategies for managing the high tourist traffic. It actually identifies some key kind of zones where we are going to expect foot traffic depending on the match schedules and the Fleet Week parades. It also has marketing tips and tricks for engaging global tourists, especially tourists that might be coming for the games and specific matches that are going to be held here. And then it also lists all of the different free promotion opportunities and resources that are out there, since there's many organizations that are trying to support small businesses this summer. So you can scan the QR code to access the guide. And I will also share the links via email so that everyone has access.
I'll also post it in chat as well.
Oh, great. In addition to the guide, we've also been working on a digital interactive map that will highlight small retail storefronts and the events, activities, discounts, promotions that they're hosting. So this is just another way to make sure that tourists know what small businesses are doing this summer and can engage and celebrate locally. So the QR code links to basically the form that a small business would fill out just to let us know what they're planning so that we can help get the word out as well. And then lastly, for our summer 2026 resources, we are hosting several free and open webinars for retail storefronts. So actually on Monday, on March 9th, we have one about how to optimize your visibility. So with SEO, so search engines, and using AI for your marketing for the summer. And then on March 16th, we've partnered with the Department of Small Business Services to provide a webinar on key compliance items that small business owners will want to keep in mind for this summer. And then we also have a webinar on April 27th that's going to be all about the digital interactive map that I just mentioned and how to get on there and what the opportunity is. And we are working on confirming an event around how retail storefronts can really optimize this summer in store. So that'd be focused on in-store activations and events. So this is all of our summer 2026 resources. We're really just trying to support small businesses. So yeah, that's the rundown on that. But now I want to pass it over to my colleague, Nicole, who is our business support specialist. And she's going to just quickly give an overview on what we call our Small Business Resource Network, which is not specific to summer 2026, but is very relevant.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Franco. Excuse me as I do have a little bit of a cold, but this is a wonderful resource and I really wanted to share tonight. So I am one of the specialists at the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. But this is a partnership that every chamber has. So all 5 boroughs also have specialists that are assisting as well. But specifically in my case, we have the borough split into 3 zones. So myself and my 2 other colleagues that cover the upper parts of Manhattan and the lower parts of Manhattan also do the same work. So essentially the whole point of this small business resource network is to help sort of be a pipeline to resources for small business owners. So what a day-to-day might look like for me is essentially going door to door for different and stopping at different small businesses in every area. So, one day I might be in the Upper East Side, another day I might be on the West Side or in Midtown, and just taking the time to sort of have a conversation with the owners, get a better understanding of, what are certain things that they're facing or certain things that they need support with, or what things have been working. And it could be a variety of issues. It could be financing, legal, marketing, and a lot of those other things. So, Maggie, you could go to the next slide if you want. So those are some of the examples. One example of a resource that we recently hosted with Google was the Google Tech to Table program. So essentially we're on our second cohort, I believe, and we were able to get a bunch of food service small business owners to be provided with 6 weeks of training for utilizing AI and how that might help their business. At the end of the 6 weeks, they eventually get awarded a grant, a $5,000 grant for participating. So that's just one of the resources that exists, but there's a lot more. And we tried to essentially reach out to as many businesses as we can and gather that data to then sort of help with the more policy side of what we do at the chamber. So yeah.
All right, and I think that's it from us at the chamber.
Well,
I
thank
have a
yeah.
question, if I may.
Please.
Have you thought about doing something like a sticker for businesses to put in their windows or on their doors that they are doing something special for the World Cup? And if you are, I'm wondering if it might be possible to consider doing something that highlights legacy businesses that are doing something for the World Cup and just give them that little extra boost of recognition because they've been in communities for many decades.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Alita. So actually, we're not doing that, but I do know that NYC Tourism and Conventions has what they're calling the Welcome World logo, which is like a set of logos that they're encouraging businesses to. I think it's free to request access for, and they're encouraging businesses to use it in their marketing. And do believe putting it like in their storefront window would be a good use case. But Bruce, I see you're here if you want to speak on that.
Yeah, that actually is our logo from our foundation, the Welcome World Foundation. And that is the one that is allowed to be used. So companies that, and the reason why we have that is largely to not be in a situation where we are infringing on IP rights with FIFA and companies that may be competing against some of their sponsors, but not unlike what they did if you were around when they did World Pride in 2019. I think it was 2019. They created a decal, excuse me, that was sponsored by, at that time, MasterCard. Welcome World, our Welcome World logo, and the foundation and the assets that Maggie's referencing is something that NYC Tourism is hoping to distribute to as many businesses as possible. I don't know the strategy behind it, who they're reaching out to. I think it's certainly beyond their members, but that is that what it's designed for, that kind of distribution.
Okay, so then we could publicize the idea that businesses could um, ask for or apply for or somehow have access to these decals.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
That's in the community engagement toolkit,
Okay.
the details of that, of how to request
Okay.
the
Wow,
logo.
you guys are so coordinated. This is really good news for all the businesses here spread across the city, not just on the Upper East Side. Each neighborhood, I think, has different strengths. So this is really good information. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, thank you. So let me introduce the last speaker from the New York City Department of Small Business Services. We have Priscilla Kwok. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You sure did, Bill.
Oh, thank you. She's the Managing Director of Strategic Initiative, where she designs and deploys cross-sector initiative that expand access to capital, strengthen commercial corridors, and advance inclusive economic growth. Priscilla, pass it on to
Great.
you.
Thanks so much and really appreciate the invitation. I feel like Bruce and the Manhattan Chamber team laid so much good groundwork. We steward the Small Business Resource Network on behalf of the city. So great shout out from the Chamber team. What we try to do is not boil the ocean, right? The New York, New Jersey Host Committee, the different chambers. I see Matt on this call. Folks here are already, right, off to the races and making sure that their commercial corridors are going to shine during this season. So our job is to make sure that we're tying that to SBS's institutional services, the things that we offer every single day for the city's 183,000 plus small businesses across the 5 boroughs. So what we did was we put together a landing page that you're seeing here, and John has the link, so feel free to share that, John, post meeting. But this has essentially the drill down of all of the resources that Bruce mentioned in terms of the licensing and other things that we're also thinking about. And of course, Matt, I think we were talking on the open bid call recently on how to make sure that the permitting, right, is streamlined. I know that's a very large and ongoing issue, and we're trying to determine like best course of action in terms of capacity to manage all of those different like wonderful events that you host every summer, right? In addition to this, world class FIFA World Cup that's going to take place. And so I think permitting is one consideration. Of course, hospitality surge readiness, as the Manhattan Chamber team noted. And so I think we're starting to think about like what additional information we need to make available to the small businesses. For those who are unaware, we actually have an outreach team at SBS that is really intended to be boots on the ground. And so they're out in the boroughs every single day, making sure to socialize SBS services because, again, as they're getting ready for the World Cup, they may be renegotiating their commercial lease. We offer commercial lease assistance. If they need additional financing to grow their business and prepare, right, in terms of purchasing additional inventory or hiring additional staff, we have a bevy of financing opportunities and options, including the New York City Funds Finder, which is an online matchmaking platform. And then, of course, this spring, I'm really excited. About a year and a half ago, we announced the creation of the New York City Future Fund, and that's a revenue-based financing product. And so we're looking to roll that out later this spring. So please stay tuned for that as well for the small businesses in your district, and we'll be sure to share that information when it becomes available. But that's really our job, right? We offer services every single day. We want to make sure they complement the strategy for the New York, New Jersey Host Committee, and then also empower business improvement districts, the chambers, even, the broader entities like the SBRN to make sure that small businesses have the tools they need, right? And are prepared to uh, uh, withstand the surge and then also prosper after the games, right? Bruce mentioned legacy. I think that's really important for us. And so, if you have, ongoing concerns for this particular community, in terms of what you're seeing, please feel free to raise them to me and we'll like happy to have that follow-on conversation. I think what I'll end with is, Bruce mentioned at the top of the call that we're hosting a number of games, including the finals. And I think that's a really fantastic opportunity to highlight the ethnic enclaves, right, across the five boroughs. And even like in CBA, I think there are a lot of communities that would benefit from even highlighting the France and Senegal game, right? You have a French school like in your district. And so imagine there's quite a number of expatriate New Yorkers in the area that would want to see, right, those kinds of cuisines or activations highlighted in their district. So really encouraging that kind of community level activation. But I'll end there and open to any questions.
Well, thank you so much, Priscilla. Does anyone from the public, well, first of all, thank you to all of the speakers. You've come so full of information that is specific for small businesses and helpful for small businesses and community focused because each community has strengths. It's just enormously refreshing. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask any of our speakers?
John, can you unmute all the speakers?
Great. Thank you. And Priscilla too, please. Thank you. Okay, Jonathan, thank you. Please, if you could unmute Jonathan, John, thank you.
Thanks, Alita. Hi, thank you, all the speakers. You really learned a lot, and you were really very organized and efficient, hitting a lot of different topics. I had a question that I thought of um, Bruce, while you were speaking. You had mentioned that even though New York City isn't hosting any of the actual like games within in Manhattan and things that were mostly in New Jersey, I thought maybe there might be an opportunity there for collaboration between maybe like in New Jersey City or like around MetLife and in Manhattan business, especially on the Upper East Side. Is there a resource or a way to sort of foster those connections between small businesses that we can sort of piggyback on each other's events or publicity? Does that, you know what I'm saying? Is
Yeah,
that
I
something
think
that your organization would
basically you're looking for, are you looking for contacts like in a Jersey City or East
yeah,
Rutherford or
that maybe
um
maybe Upper East Side businesses could partner up and somehow work together so that sort of spread the love
Yeah,
and
yeah,
especially
yeah.
in tourists, so he could be here for at least a few days and from maybe different cities.
What I would suggest is if you send me an email, I will connect you with a gentleman named Jim Kirkos, Jim is the head of the Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce, which encompasses a lot of cities around MetLife, East Rutherford, the beautiful East Rutherford,
Yeah.
Newark. I don't believe it may include Jersey City, though I don't think so. Hoboken, I got to check. Anyway, it's his responsibility to establish commerce for his partners, which are all businesses in and around the stadium. Would that be okay? Would that be what you'd be looking for?
Yeah, that would be great. And that way you sort of have small business could talk to each other and they can figure out, oh, we can get some of these visitors to come here, but also to go there, and we can offer things in tandem. That would be, I would just feel like that's like an untapped potential.
I'm going to put my email in the chat so you have it.
Amazing. Thanks, Bruce.
You got it. Oh, I can't actually. I think it's disabled, but
Wait,
for
Oh, you
me,
know what? If you
wait,
could put it in the chat, it will go to John, and then John could get it to Jonathan.
okay.
Thank you.
I
And okay, Matt, if you could unmute Matt Bauer.
Jonathan, can you also unmute Nicole Franco?
Once again, thanks so much for hosting this meeting. And I know we have a lot of our members from Madison Avenue going to be watching on YouTube. So tomorrow. But really, once again, thanks again for this presentation. We're also pleased to be members of the Manhattan Chamber. There's a lot of places that businesses could list what they're doing, and I know you're doing something in Manhattan Chamber with the Live XYZ map. The biggest question that I always get is, what is everybody else doing? When will those databases where you list your events, when will those, do you think, become live?
I can speak for what we're doing on the host committee. We're going live with this visitor concierge sometime in April, probably the third week in April. So well before the matches.
Okay.
When things get updated, it's real time. So if you update something on Google in your profile, it's going to immediately get kind of sucked into the AI brain. It's a living, breathing organism, as you know. That's the beauty of AI. But we're not waiting for people to come here on June 11th. We know we're gonna have visitors coming in early. If you have something going on early and somebody's asking about it, they're gonna know about it as soon as we go up live.
Do you know when the Live XYZ? No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So the Live XYZ map, the digital interactive map, will likely go live in early May.
In early May. Okay,
Yep.
so that's when businesses sort of, okay.
Yep.
And
So
then, and they
yeah.
could update that, because I think what's going to happen is people are going to look, well, what is everybody else doing? And then they're going to try to,
Yeah, so similar to what Bruce was saying, Live XYZ is live in nature, so it'll be updated in real time with both the info that businesses submit, but also what is on their Google business profile, etc.
Okay. And do you know if, because we have a lot of consulates here on the Upper East Side, do you know if any of the consulates are doing events for their respective teams?
I can answer, yes, they are, Matt. We've had meetings with City Hall and I forget the title now of City Hall. I should know the title. I know the woman. But we've probably met with we had a meeting last week with Norway. We've had meetings with all the 9 nations that are guaranteed to be playing in New York, New Jersey, because they all likely are doing something. They're not sure, but they wanted to inform us and let us know. We've actually even had meetings with nations and both the diplomats and their soccer federations, assuming that they're gaming out that they will get through the group stage and likely have a game in New York, New Jersey. That was specifically Netherlands, who were here last 2 weeks ago. So we have met with all the diplomats. We've had it collectively. Actually, first one we had was a collective group of all the nations that are playing here, organized through FIFA. And we had City Hall, we had the host committee, we had folks from New Jersey as well, from the governor's office. So we've had a chance to meet with either in person or virtually with all the diplomats of the 9 nations that are playing in New Jersey.
Okay, no, terrific. And do you happen to know if anything is happening specifically in Central Park?
I am not at liberty to say, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Yes.
Okay. Obviously, it's what we all we love us more of them. So
Yeah.
uh,
We feel pretty confident, but I do not want to steal anybody's thunder, and certain things still have to be worked out. That would be our goal. I mean, how do you not have the world's biggest match and the world's biggest stage, not in the world's best park?
there you go. All right. Thank you so much.
I have a question here. Will there be any anticipated grants or loans tied to this event for small businesses?
I can tell you, I mean, I know what exists. Not from us. Abney is doing, I don't know if you saw their announcement, they're giving out grants uh, to businesses in uh, different districts, different bids around the city, around the World Cup. You should go to the Abney site. I think they announced it maybe a month ago. So that's what I know of right now. I'm not aware of anything that's coming out of City Hall, though it may. And maybe Priscilla has more information, but I know Abdi is doing something. Grants, not loans, grants.
And when you say grant, what the limit or minimum?
Bill, I don't know. There is the specifics are on their site. They do have a gross amount, a total aggregate amount that they're going to be awarding from. I don't know what the individual amounts are. There you go. It's all in there, I'm sure.
It's
My
yeah,
other, thank you. And my other question would be, what do small businesses should be doing starting tomorrow and prepare themselves for the next couple of weeks for the event?
I
I'll let the small business experts speak to that.
I was actually going to say I think I could speak to that. Just from the chamber's perspective, I mean my whole role is created to essentially help owners with like planning and development in that sense and connecting them to the resources that exist that can help them with that. So if there are any owners specifically in your area that would need, support, whether that's with financing or anything like that. I have no problem with providing my email and my phone number so that they can contact me directly and we can we can help them immediately. And then on top of that, just to highlight, because I was muted before, the range for the grant for a ABNY is from 5 to 15,000. And then, but just to like emphasize that, I think according to the guidelines, it's only for small to mid-sized nonprofits.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as I'm assuming as more resources come out, I know that at least on our end, it's going to be, we're going to try to connect as many owners to those resources as possible, especially the grants, because I know that's a big one. So yeah.
Yep. And then just to add on to what Nicole said, the webinars that we're hosting are in the chat, and those are really good starting points. And so is the resource guide. But right now, business owners should be preparing for what events promotions, discounts, activities they're planning for the summer, if they're going to host a watch party, looking into the requirements, whether they need to apply for the public viewing license, reviewing all of those materials, and really planning meticulously with the events and promotions and the associated marketing collateral that they'll use. Like Bruce said, updating their Google business profile, making sure they're very up to date online so that if they are doing something, everyone knows about it. And then from a compliance perspective, I don't know the exact details, but we do have a webinar on that. And the goal is that if there's a permit or any compliance related things that they need to be addressed, it should be addressed now. So it's not going to happen last minute during the chaos of the summer.
Thank you. Sahar has a question from the community board. John, if you could unmute her, please.
Yeah, hi, thank you. This is so amazing. All the presentations have been so great. Just Nicole, to what you were saying about nonprofits. So just wanted to ask for that. Is there a separate page for that where they are all highlighted? Like what support aside from the grants for them to do the work, like, kind of connecting work? How are they promoted? Because they're kind of different from small businesses otherwise.
So that's a good question. And I'm also wondering the same thing. So just to clarify, I know that this grant is through ABNY, so I'm not, this is the first time I'm learning about it. So thanks, Bruce. But I'm looking through the website right now. So I was just reading off of the website, but that would be a good question to sort of look into.
Yeah, so it's going to be given to nonprofits, bids, organizations, and then I think it's by April 1st, bids, organizations are awarded with the funds. And that will be a good time to learn about like if your local bid or community organization is either offering a grant directly to you or doing some type of initiative or watch party that you as a small business owner could get involved in. So I think it's a little early right now for like how the ABNY grant itself will reach business owners, but hopefully that will come in April once organizations start actually doing the programs that they applied for the funding for.
And would they get the money up front? Because usually the grants in general, you receive the money later, or it's a reimbursement process. But with this, is it like upfront coming?
I'm not ABNY, but I did listen to their info session, and they did emphasize that they're trying to get the grant money out fast because summer is approaching fast. So I do think that's on their radar.
Okay, thank you. And they will be promoted, like their listing, they would be listed somewhere special as well, like they would have their own listings for nonprofits participating in this, or would they be with all the other business owners?
When you say their listing, what exactly are you referring to?
The promotion, any coverage. So do they get, because they are a nonprofit, so would they be in a separate bucket, or would they be going with the regular small businesses that are there for profit?
So ABNY's only giving this grant to nonprofits.
Okay.
And what the nonprofits do with it is what they're applying for now. So we're not sure really. We can't speak to that in detail. How they'll promote business owners, we're not sure. I think more information will come really in April. What kind of promotion opportunities that the ABNY grantees will be able to provide for small businesses.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. A question from Scarlett Healy. John, please.
Hi, everyone. And again, same as everyone else, thanks for the presentations. They were really great. I think this is probably mostly for Bruce. Obviously, I understand most of the preparations are for the games happening at MetLife, but there are games happening in California and Canada. Do you know about any changes to any city services because of sort of games that kick off 9 p.m. Eastern time and aren't finishing till late? Do you know if there's any adjustments in transit or other services for those kind of games happening?
For the watch experiences, yeah, we're already talking about that. Especially the games. If you talk about New York City, I guess, how does that impact us here? Yes, not unlike what Citi Field does and the U.S. Tennis Center does when the Tennis Open is happening there, that you have to extend the 7 train specifically in the tennis center. So we're obviously talking to MTA on that. And but beyond the group stages, we're not aware of any matches after that, especially at Rock Center. That we don't think there'll be a 9 o'clock match, and if there is, the beauty of transportation in Rock, we'll do the same thing. We'll apply in Rock Center, but we're also it's zoned to be able to have noise ordinances up until I think 2 a.m. Not that we expect to have much going on beyond that, but we're looking at specifically in Queens to on our site, things that we control to have extended transit, subway transit, not unlike what they do for baseball and tennis.
Sounds like a good plan. Did you have anything else, Scarlett? I guess you'd raise your hand if you did. I have a question. It's kind of, I think, maybe an odd question. So, for bars, restaurants who might be interested in generating some excitement in advance of the games, there were some soccer movies. The only one I could think of right now is something Manchester United, which was a really good movie, by the way. If they wanted to screen soccer films or TV shows, is there any way to help them get licenses from the studios or networks that control the program? Or has that not even come up? Maybe this is just such a weird question.
Hasn't come up for me, although at this point in time, when you have a question that you haven't heard before after all these years, give yourself a pat on the shoulder. That's actually pretty good. I guess we'd have to really kind of narrow that ask down, like, okay, I want this into this specific film, and then find out who distributes it, who has access to it, because you don't want to go down this rabbit hole and find out you're not really going to need them because they're not the distributor or the owner or have any of the rights. So I think if you had like, hey, we want to showcase this movie, then we'd want to find out who has the rights to it, how you get it, what you need to do. I'm not an expert at that, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even begin to tell you. It's an interesting concept. I suspect smart business people should be thinking like that to seed the waters, seed the soil, so to speak. Then, get ready.
Maybe you could put out a list of some films where you know who owns the license rights and then generate interest in doing something like that by already having the information that's out there. I used to work in the film business, to be honest, so I'm used to kind of thinking
Yeah.
about promotions like that. Just an idea, just a
Yeah,
question.
I mean the problem is too, we'd have to manage expectations. Like the host committee could not be in the business of securing rights for films. We don't have that capacity. However, maybe somebody else does if that list is put
Exactly.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you've got a lot going on. Maybe it's a New York City tourism thing or the Office of Film and Development in reverse.
Yeah, or maybe the mayor's office of film should do that right.
Thank you.
I have another question. Will you be providing any written do's and don'ts for small businesses and branding guidance that can be made publicly?
I'll let my colleagues answer that.
So in our Summer of Opportunity guide, there are strong suggestions, mostly around operations and marketing. And then where relevant, we reference the FIFA host committee community toolkit guide, and that has some do's and don'ts around how to use World Cup language, how to reference it in copyright, etc. So those are the only really don'ts that I'm clearly aware of, and we echo that in our guide for small businesses.
One of the guides had mentioned compliance, but I was writing them down, so I can't tell you offhand which one that was, but that might seem applicable.
Yeah, so in terms of compliance, we have a webinar coming up, and Maybe Priscilla is more poised to answer that question, but SBS has certain compliance measures that might be particularly relevant for this summer. Those would be applicable to businesses generally, though.
Bill, what I would say is if there are small businesses in your district that could use a visit from our NYC Best team, that's our compliance team, to make sure their storefront or retail storefront is ready. Feel free to send those businesses our way, and we're happy to make that connection. And our team can be, on the ground there and make those visits.
We should be making all of the information that you've provided today available in an email, possibly to that we send out periodically, the CB8 roundup, so that all of the small businesses who are not watching this or going to watch it on YouTube have access to that kind of information. So hopefully you'll be getting a lot of publicity through us.
Yeah, that'd be great. Also, I just pulled up our guide. So some of the compliance related items that I'm kind of vaguely referring to are dining out NYC rules, street activity permits, temporary place of assembly, and then the state liquor authority licenses. So these are kind of things that are always applicable, but we're just calling out as particularly relevant for the summer. So, and the NYC Best team is the best resource for that.
Amplified sound too, I'd imagine, from anyone putting outside TV sets or radios. Wow, radio, there's an old-fashioned term. Anyone else with any questions?
I have another question. Are there any common fraud schemes or vendor scam that small businesses should be aware of?
Can you repeat that question? Vendor scams?
Are there any common fraud scheme or vendor scam that small businesses should be aware of? Or how they can protect themselves from such fraudulent solicitation?
Hey, Bill, I'm going to just share one thing that I think is really important. A lot of people misrepresent their relationship with the host committee and say they're doing work for us when maybe they sent us an email and maybe one of us responded. The best way to verify that somebody has a relationship with us or with FIFA is to reach out to the host committee. And if somebody, because there are tons of bad actors. I'm not sure this is exactly what you mean, but there are people who try to leverage. They had a discussion with us, or they were at a presentation and they dropped a business card in our hand, and now all of a sudden they think we're working with them and they misrepresent their role. And then people say, well, if they're working with the host committee, which they probably think is FIFA, I should be working with that group. I would just always make sure that if somebody uses the host committee and say they're working with us, drop us an email. We're not a lot of people. We're busy, but we respond to these things. It happens every day.
And what will be your email address? You can put in the chat.
Yeah, I gave it should be in there. I don't know if John has it and sent it out.
I can post it in chat. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm not suggesting that's what Maggie or Priscilla or anybody else would suggest. But from a credential standpoint, we all know that there are people who will over exaggerate their relationship with this event and with FIFA. And when in doubt, reach out.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions from the public, from the board? Or the speakers for each other, but you've all been coordinating. We are so grateful for your time and your knowledge and expertise and resources that you've made available to the small businesses that are really the lifeblood of the city. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing all of that with us. And we're going to do everything that we possibly can to help create that interaction that benefits everyone from the influx of visitors for the World Cup. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We really do appreciate your time.
Thank you to the co-chairs. This was really an excellent presentation, a ton of information. And I'm thrilled that Councilmember Maloney is not only representing some of the businesses in CB8, but also Rockefeller Center. We're really looking forward to all of this. Thank you very much for this.
So that's a great synergy, and I'm sure that there are ways that we could work together with the council member's office in terms of helping the businesses in our district.
We would like to help promote a lot of these programs, and we can certainly try to help to get the word out. And so I have taken photos and written down all these websites, and I'll be following up.
That's
Thank
great.
you all very much.
And thank you too for being here, Bruce. It's really important to have the input and input from and access to the council members. So thank you.
Yes, and I did want to send it in, but our office, the council member's office number is 212-818-0580. And you can certainly reach us anytime there. I won't bother spelling out my name for the email, but you can feel free to forward all of that info. I know the board has it. Thank you again very much.
Again, thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn then? You can make it, Bill.
Let's adjourn.
I'll second it. Thank you, everyone, and good
All right.
night.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Good one.
Good night.
Good night.